Chairman Mike Rogers is back with us now. Chairman Rogers, if you will, take a bigger look. Look at the whole area of Ukraine and tell us, why should Americans be concerned about what's going on there?
Well, any instability in that region causes economic instability, and it certainly will impact Europe. If it impacts Europe's economy, it's going to impact the United States economy. You know, when this first happened, Martha, there was a dip in our stock exchange, our markets. So I think they went down 154 points. So it has a direct relationship. We're no longer, completely isolated by the two oceans around the United States. We're interconnected economically. And so we do need to worry about the stability of a place like the Ukraine. And we need to worry about the continued advancement, certainly, for reasons of influence, or in this case, taking land by Putin and Russia. We've seen this story before, and when we didn't react as the United States, we thought it would settle itself. We end up buying into a bigger trouble later, and I think that's what you're seeing happening. And at least some notion that we have to diplomatically apply pressure, get our European allies together to start pushing back on what I think is an expansionist attitude by Putin.
But what if this referendum for secession passes? Then what do we do? What does Europe do? I know the Ukrainian government has to be involved. They say it's illegal. We say it's illegal. But what happens next?
Well, it gets a little interesting. So you'll have two sets of problems. On the diplomatic front, you'll have what does Europe do? You know, Germany is so tied to the Russian economy, both from energy and direct business connections and back into Russia. You've got some problems with sanctions and how that works out and how they can go forward without screwing up their own economy. Then you have this the notion of, if they do that, now you have a different legal status. And so some are charging that the Ukrainian overthrow in Kiev was illegal. That's the Russians' perspective, which would allow them, under their interpretation of the law, to have a vote to secede, the Crimean Peninsula, to secede from the Ukraine. And Russia has already said in their parliament that they would accept them. So now you have a whole new different set of laws we're going to have to unwind in order to see where we can go from an international perspective.
Quickly, Mr. Chairman, I was there this week. This seems like this is going to go on for a very long time. But you mentioned Vladimir Putin. What's going on with him? What is he trying to prove? What do we know about him?
You know, well, domestically, he doesn't have a lot going on. That's a problem. He is scoring huge points on his foreign policy, and I think that has bolstered his ability to try to be, a little bit out of the box when he does something like put troops in the Crimea. So I think that's a bit of it. I do think that he wants to be back on the world stage. He wants to be a world influence. And if he has to do it through brute force, he's going to do it. That's his mentality. We shouldn't underestimate the kinds of things that he will do that he thinks is in Russia's best interests. I think up to date, we thought it was a different century, and the administration thought, well, if we just act nice, everyone will act nice with us. And that's just, unfortunately, not the way that Putin and the Russian Federation sees the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us this morning, Mr. Chairman. Russian